What's up guys, Brian Kelly here from Zombie Guitar. So this is part 3 of the Music Theory from Metal series, and here in this video we're going to be looking at layer 2 of the soloing aspect. So this applies to fills, leads, solos, riffs, whatever you want to call it. This is the layer 2 part of it. So layer 2 means that you're actually paying attention to the chords as the chord changes are happening in the rhythm section. Layer 1, which is what last video was about, part 2, that was where we just said, what key are we in? Oh, we're in the key of C sharp minor. Cool, that's all the information I need to know. I know what key I'm in. I'm going to play my C sharp natural minor scale. Done deal. So here in layer 2, we dive deeper into things and we look at what to do over each individual chord that's occurring in the rhythm section, so we can focus on playing specific things over each chord. What's the first chord? Oh, the first chord is a C sharp chord. Okay, now I know what my notes of focus are over that chord. What's the next chord? Okay, it moves to an A chord. Cool. Now I know my notes of focus over that chord. What's the chord after that? It's a B chord. All right, I know my notes of focus over that chord. Your notes of focus change as each chord changes. These are called chord tones. This is also the same thing as arpeggios. Chord tones, arpeggios, use the two terms interchangeably. It just means what are the notes of each individual chord in the rhythm section. Now, because all of the chords in the rhythm section are part of the key, all of the notes of focus over each chord also happen to be part of the one key scale. The key scale is the C sharp minor scale. One scale remains constant the whole time. Notes of focus within that scale change as the chords do. Layer 1, layer 2. So if you recall from part 1, we looked at what exactly constitutes a key. So we laid down a rhythm. That rhythm was just power chords, but each of those power chords was representative of one of the chords within the key that we're playing in. We determined that we're in the key of E major, that's the major name of the key, or the key of C sharp minor, that's the minor name of the key, that's a relative major-minor pair. I'm just going to go ahead and call this the key of E major and number things from that perspective, just because it's easier to number things. So these are your chords in the key of E major or C sharp minor, relative major-minor pair. Both keys have exactly the same 7 chords as one another. So we're playing power chords in the rhythm section, but each of those power chords is representative of a major chord or a minor chord, based on whether it's the 1 chord, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7 chord. So the C sharp chord, that's the 6th chord within the key, that's representative of a minor chord. When we play the B power chord, that's the 5 chord in this key. The 5 chord is representative of a major chord. Same thing with the 4 chord. When we play the A chord, that's the 4 chord in this key, that's representative of a major chord. You can even take this a step further and say that each of these power chords that we're playing is representative of a chord in its 7th form. You know, you can take it beyond just the triad level and take the chords out to their 7th form. In any given key, you have your 2 major 7th chords, which is your 1 and 4 chord. You have your 3 minor 7th chords, which is your 2, 3, and 6 chord. You have your dominant 7th chord, which is your 5 chord. You have your half diminished chord, which is your 7th chord. So if you wanted to say 6 chord is representative of a minor 7th chord, 5 chord is representative of a dominant 7th chord, 4 chord is representative of a major 7th chord, and then do that in your soloing, major 7th arpeggios and dominant 7th arpeggios and stuff like that, that's perfectly fine too. It just depends on, are you soloing over the 6th chord? Okay, then treat it as a minor 7th chord. Are you soloing over the 4 chord now? Okay, treat it as a major 7th chord. Oh, you're on the 5 chord now. Treat it as a dominant 7th chord. Play dominant 7th arpeggios. All right, so with all that said, I'm not actually going to be taking the chords out to their 7th form. I didn't do that in the demo in the beginning. I'm only just taking them out to the triad form. I'm just playing major arpeggios over the chords that are representative of major chords, and minor arpeggios over the chords that are representative of minor chords. So the way you do this is you take your pinky and you find the note of the chord that you're trying to play an arpeggio over. You find the root note on the A string of that chord, and you put your pinky on it. So let's look at the, we'll look at the minor one first, all right? So I want to play a minor arpeggio. I want to play a C sharp minor arpeggio. Pinky, put that right there on the note C sharp, 16th fret. So this is a C sharp minor arpeggio shape. So that's a minor arpeggio shape. You can play that anywhere. We just happen to be playing a C sharp minor arpeggio. If I wanted to play an A minor arpeggio, for example, I would just be like, put my pinky on the note A. Or if I wanted to play like an E minor arpeggio, take my pinky, put it on the note E right here, 7th fret, or up here, you know, just put it on the note E. Here's the E minor arpeggio. All right, so the minor arpeggio that we're focused on right now is a C sharp minor arpeggio. This is played over a C sharp power chord. That power chord is representative of a C sharp minor chord because it's the 6th chord in the key that we're playing in. All right, so this is this. That's your minor arpeggio shape. So the next arpeggio that was played in that demo in the beginning was an A major arpeggio, so I would take my pinky, put it on the note A. There it is right there, 12th fret. So I think I did this. I did that over the A chord. And then I moved up to the B, which is also a major, because it's the 5th chord in the key, so this power chord is representative of a major chord, and I played the same shape. So in the demo in the beginning I did this. Just playing around with those shapes, not playing all of the notes of each shape, but just, you know, playing notes within the shape. And then I went back to the C sharp minor chord. Alright, so I'm just using the minor shape over the chords that are representative of minor, and the major shape over the chords that are representative of the major chords in the key. And then it had like a quick E to B thing, so it's... So over that E, B, E is representative of a major chord because that's the 1 chord of the key, and then B is representative of a major chord because that's the 5 chord of the key, so both major arpeggios there. So what I did here was I came up and I played the same shape for the E major chord, E major arpeggio. Put your pinky right there on the note E. If if your fingers are too fat for up here, you can put your 3rd finger. It's fine. Just the shape is what it is, you know. And then I used a slightly different shape for the B. I could have used the same shape. I could have like jumped down here for the B, or jumped, all the way down here for the B, or something like that. But instead I actually just used the G shape. So this is where the cage system comes in. If you have an understanding of the cage system, you can literally find any chord shape anywhere on the entire neck of the guitar. You just have to be able to know where your root notes are located on either the A string or the low E string. So I'm like, okay, I'm already up here. I don't feel like jumping all the way back down here to target the B notes. I kind of want to just stay in the same position that I'm already at. Oh, okay, I have a B major chord found in the G shape. How did I know that? It's because the note B is found on the E string right here. Anytime your root note is on the E string, you have a G shape or an E shape available to you. So I'm like already right here. So I just played those 2 notes of the B chord. And then I came up and I just played off the C sharp minor chord shape right here. I just played these notes. So after that I came down here to this shape again and I played the notes on the G and the E string. Same thing for the B chord, I played the notes on the G and the E string. And then for this chord I did this arpeggio. This is over this part. And then after that I was playing on the same 2 shapes that I've been using all along, the A major and the B major shapes. And then I stayed on those same 3 strings, D, G, and B string, but I did it over the C sharp minor chord using that same shape that we already looked at. And then it ends by doing a little... So how did I come up with that? Chord tones. You guessed it. So this is over this part. For this one, I just used the 3rd of each chord. So over this F sharp power chord, which is representative of an F sharp minor power chord, this was the note. Over the G sharp power chord, which is representative of a G sharp minor power chord, this is the note. Over the A power chord, which is representative of an A major chord, here's the 3rd of that chord. And then over the B chord, which is representative of a B major chord, here's the 3rd. So this was my line. Except I played it up here. Alright, just chord tones of each of those chords. Over the F sharp minor chord, I played this. And then over the rest of the chords, I did like a little bendy thing. If you ever want to do some kind of cool little bendy stuff like that, always know that whenever you play a note on the B string, 2 frets higher, the note on the G string, bend that by a whole step, and it's going to be the same note. So if I wanted to play a B, but I also wanted to bend this note down here to reach a B as well, or if I wanted to play this note, which is a C sharp note, but I wanted to add that little bendy thing in there, or this note, which is a D sharp note, add this little bendy thing. So alright, so if you're one of the 6 people that made it this far in the video, thank you for sticking with me. I just wanted to say that if you think this layer 2 stuff is overwhelming, you're absolutely right. It is overwhelming. It's a lot to take in. Keeping up with the chord changes is not an easy thing to do. We're in the key of C sharp minor. Let's play our C sharp minor scale. Let's get to it. Let's find our C sharp minor scale patterns. Let's connect these together. It may take a while to connect all the patterns together. It is a monumental task. It very well take you years. It took me years to learn how to play in key up and down the neck of the guitar. But at least the objective is clear. The objective is like, I have to learn how to play in key. Okay, that I could do that. You know, I want to spend like 2 years. I'm going to learn how to do that. That's achievable. But then you think you've like reached the top of the mountain. You're like, all right, I finally learned how to play in key. I know all my scale patterns. I reached the top of the mountain. But then you're like, oh my God, the top of the mountain's like so much farther up there. That's because you discovered layer 2. All right. So layer 2, now you not only have to know how to play in key and connect all your scale patterns together and stuff like that. Now it's like, oh, my notes of focus change as the chords change. Oh no. All right. That's why even though I was playing in key, some notes sounded better than other notes, and I didn't quite know why. Oh, I have to pay attention to each individual chord. So even though I'm playing that one single scale over all the chords, some notes within that one scale sound better over chord 1. Different notes in that scale sound better over chord 2. Different notes in that scale sound better over chord 3. Wow, so I actually have to keep up with these chord changes. My notes of focus have to keep on changing. My brain has to be able to move that quickly. Wow, the top of the mountain is like way farther than I ever thought. It's layer 2 for you, though. Anyway, that's why I make a bazillion videos on this stuff. I have videos about chord tone targeting. I have videos on arpeggios. That's what layer 2 is. I have tons of them. If you want to watch them on YouTube, you want to watch my videos on YouTube, you type in Brian Kelly, chord tone targeting. You're going to get a bunch of results. Or Brian Kelly arpeggios, you're going to get a bunch of results. If you're a member of the Zombie Guitar website, we have a whole entire section dedicated to this layer 2 stuff. Go into the in-depth lesson portal, go into the chord tone targeting, aka layer 2 section, and there's tons and tons of lessons, tons of different approaches, with the full understanding that this is a monumental task. All right? Full understanding that it's like, wow, we thought we were at the top of the mountain, but the top of the mountain's all the way up there. Not an easy thing to do, and that's why I have so many different approaches on how to tackle this other monumental task that you may or may not knew existed. Anyway, I think I've rambled enough about this layer 1, layer 2 stuff. If you made it this far into the video, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next part.